Greetings and salutations. Welcome to another edition of the AARP Foundation Experience Corps in your community. My name is O.S. Owen, and I am your host, and I am the volunteer recruiter for the AARP Foundation Experience Corps program. And today in our studio, we have the principal of the Ida B. Wells Elementary School. We have Jeffrey White. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you for allowing me to be here with you.
For joining us. You've got quite a history. We've had quite a bit of time trying to get you here because you've been so busy. So tell me and tell our viewing audience about Ida B. Wells, about the school. Tell us.
Well, Wells Prep is a South Side school that transitioned from being a school within a school. As you're probably aware, we were located almost 8 years ago inside of Phillips High School. And then we were given the marching orders of taking two schools, which was the old Mayo Elementary School that was just located where we are now, and taking Wells Prep and combining those schools into one successful school.
And when did that take place?
That took place over 7 years ago when we were located inside of Phillips High School.
Right on 39th Street, right?
Right out the back door.
Yes,
and
yes.
we were asked to take over and transition Mayo School as well as Ida B. Wells into one elementary school. It was a daunting task. We started out having over 500 students. We're kind of leveled out now to where we have about 408 students. I do not have reservations in saying we took it over. It was a level 3 school. Okay. At that particular time, a school in academic probation. With the help and assistance of the community, and particularly some strong leaders. When I say strong leaders, I'm talking about teachers. Mm-hmm. We moved together and we transitioned and came up with one philosophy, and where all roads are going to lead to college. And we put our kids in school. Okay. We made it happen, and now the 7th year we're a level 1 school off probation.
Here we go now.
Off probation.
Okay. So you said a level 3 school,
which is on probation.
On probation. So being a level 3 school, what does that mean to us in the community?
Well, that means nothing good in per se, because of the fact that it was on academic probation. We had to have a lot of intervention coming from the Chicago Public Schools in regards to academic performance and social-emotional support. However, when we got all of our faculty members on board with one plan of action to make it a very well-run school, it immediately came off probation, and this is our 2nd year going in to where we are a level 1 school in academic standing, in great standing with the state as well as the school district.
So that says a lot about who you are. You've taken on this task to combine these two schools.
That says a lot about the people who I work for.
Well, understood. They could have chosen someone else, right?
But they didn't.
Well, they chose you. So it says a lot about who you are. A man in the community, a man that's concerned about education for our children. I mean, why did you become a principal?
Well, I come from a family of educators. My aunts and uncles are everything from coaches, principals, assistant superintendents, and I was not given a choice. You're going to be an educator, and that's what I stuck with over the years, and I'm proud to say, as being a country boy from Kentucky and coming all the way into Chicago, it has made me feel nothing but success in what I've learned from them and brought it into an urban school setting to make it better.
So you've been instilled with this superpower gift to be a principal and educator.
Well, understand I can't do it all. And I'm very, very tuned to the fact that it takes a lot of good people to make great things happen for kids. And you cannot make things happen in school without wonderful teachers around you. And I've been blessed to say I have some wonderful teachers that I work for that are willing to put up with me, as well as some of the high expectations that we have before them.
Well, that's what leadership's all about.
Leadership's about change and embracing the fact that you must lead people into success.
So now, you've been here for 7 years. Let's talk about the Experience Corps program, because you've been there since the inception of that. The Experience Corps program has been in the school.
I do not have any reservations in saying I was a little suspect at first.
In what way?
For the simple fact that I didn't know, and the lack of the unknown kind of scares people. Mm-hmm. However, but once we got into it and we got to talking about what the mission and vision of the Experience Corps was, it directly coincided with what we needed to happen at Wells Prep. And from the first day that you guys stepped into the building, we saw an immediate success in our grades at kindergarten through all the way to third grade. And if you look at the data, it shows it that when you came in, we were on probation. You've been there and stuck through the hard times with us. And now if you look at the grade levels in K to 3, you'll see that those are the ones who are performing at high standards because of the fact that they're getting intervention from people who care.
Now, just for our viewing audience, we're talking about the Experience Corps program. It's a volunteer program that the AARP Foundation supports. And what we do is we look for folks that are 50 and over to be tutors and mentors for kindergartners, first graders, second graders, and third graders in the Chicago Public Schools. And the Experience Corps program has been in Wells for the last 7 years. Now, Principal White just said that when he combined these schools, they were on probation.
On probation.
So when our program started, the school was on probation. And the students that we were working with at, 7 years ago, K through 3,
Yes.
some of those students are just about ready to graduate.
Yes.
Can you say that you've seen a difference, or what has been the impact on those students through this program?
All data
Tell our viewing audience.
All data shows that if a student has more adults around him teaching him or her how to read at an earlier age, they will be successful long term. And this is what the AARP program has done for our students, is provide them with intensive, immediate focus on reading in the classroom to improve their skills to where they do better on NWA testing, state standardized testing, and they have someone that they can talk to. That's the big issue right there, is because we have people in the building who are mature, I don't want to say older, but mature, who can provide their insight to educating students, and they care about them. We have people from the Experience Corps who provide students with presents for doing better on academic tests. They provide them with gifts for doing better behaviorally. So
Stop right there. Behaviorally. So that has a direct impact on how the student
let's
acts.
just call a spade a spade. When a kid is sitting in front of someone who cares and they're a mature adult, that kid becomes very, very respectful of that particular person. And let's go on and say it just like it is. Most mature people do not have any reservations telling kids to get their lives in order. And that's what I need from a leadership perspective, are more people who are mature enough to tell a student, you need to get things in line because life's tough. And it's even tougher if you're going through life stupid.
That's right. That's right. Life is already tough, and it's tougher if you're stupid. Okay.
And it's wonderful that I have people that I can rely on to come in every year and work with these kids to move them up. I have, and it's all right there in front of you, have never had a person from the AARP program quit our program. They've always come back year after year after year after year to serve our students.
So, okay, can you tell me or share with us a story about a couple of students that this program has made a huge impact and that you've been able to recognize as well as a teacher?
I have a volunteer who has been with us all 7 years, who has worked with kids from the time that she arrived when they were kindergartners all the way up to today, who still have that relationship with her by coming to converse with her, by coming to see her, and to show their report cards, as well as their progress reports, and showing how they're moving academically. You can't put a price tag on that, because that is something that we just can't judge from afar and say this is working. No, when you see people moving forward because they have that sincere connection with somebody who cares, my job is compartmentalized because somebody else is doing it for me.
Well, let's give a shout out to that volunteer, because she does this because she believes in the children. She loves the children, and she has this wonderful commitment and passion for the power of reading.
I want to encourage anyone to stop by and see the volunteers that we have working there. If I would be unprofessional to name one person.
Right. Now, when I say shout out, we're going to acknowledge her shout out. We're not going to mention any names here because everyone's doing a phenomenal job.
Unbelievable.
But the mere fact that you have pointed out the impact by having mature individuals in the classroom, how it's impacted the children, not just academically, but socially,
The
and
social
build
emotional
confidence
support in
as
Chicago
well.
public schools is more important than the academic component. I want to say that again. The social emotional support is more important than the academic support within Chicago public schools. And the reason why I say that, with all of the craziness that's going on in the world today, having someone who you can talk to get that stuff out of your system to help you focus academically can only occur when somebody shows that they care. And that's what I'm getting every year from the experience course, people who care.
So, what a difference a day makes. So now, fast forward it. We've got probably some students who are about to graduate,
You do, yes you do.
who've been in the program, you know.
And are eligible to go to select enrollment schools.
Now, what's select enrollment schools? Clarify that for our listeners.
In Chicago public schools, it is a big thing to have your child enroll in select enrollment schools like Jones College Prep,
Okay.
Walter Payton. Those schools, King High School, when you're eligible to go to those particular schools in Chicago public schools, you're doing something. Because the criteria to get into those schools,
You have to test to get into
you
those
test
schools.
the schools.
Yeah.
To be eligible to even go is unreal. And to say that you were accepted to one of those schools is a major accomplishment before you even get to high school. If you are accepted to a select enrollment school that everyone is fighting over to get in Chicago public schools, that says a lot about who you are.
Now, I want to ask you a question, and to verify this for me, it is my understanding that the third grade reading scores have been the best indication of how a student will
Of
perform.
success.
Is that correct?
You're absolutely correct.
And why is that?
Well, it shows that if a kid is able to read at an early age, he or she will be successful long term. And we're seeing more and more kids come into school, sadly to say, not being able to read. So having an experience court work with them in kindergarten and getting them all the way ready for third grade is a phenomenal success, because if they don't have it by then, it's an uphill battle.
Now, it is my understanding, and once again, this is why I'm glad you're here, that most of our children start school with a 30,000 word deficit. So by the time our student is actually in kindergarten, what should their vocabulary be like?
That's a good question. Now, I can tell you this, with the implementation of full-day preschool and kindergarten, and the experience code, we've seen a lot more kids who are academically talented than what we used to see prior to all of this. So there encompasses a lot of things going on, but right now you're looking at full-day preschool, full-day kindergarten, and help with those kids who have some challenges in reading via the experience school.
Now I'm going to ask you a loaded question. Now, behavior. Is that related to, I met some students that were actually brilliant,
But not challenged.
they
And
behaved
and they're
poorly.
disruptive. Yes.
So, because a student got a bad reputation because he was labeled as a bad student.
They exist.
However, when I spoke with him, it was more so the fact that he was embarrassed because he wasn't reading well. So he said, well, before the class punks me, I'm going to punk them. Now, is there something to that?
You're absolutely correct. But there's also that segment of the population who are very talented but not being challenged. And so when we challenge our kid by having them take advanced courses, you'll see that the behavior will become diminished and their academic improvement will still increase. That's the same for a low-functioning student. When he or she sees that someone cares and someone's trying to challenge them academically, they move up only when they see somebody that's watching and cares. And that's what I'm getting from Experience Corps.
So they
people
rise
who
to
are
the
watching
occasion.
and caring.
Caring. So, if I'm not
Okay.
mistaken, what you just said, that this Experience Corps program with our volunteers and our viewing audience, you can make a difference too and be an Experience Corps volunteer and help support the school in assisting and guiding and encouraging and motivating our young students to be the best version of themselves. The more you read, the more you lead. You said it, that reading
Is everything
and
today.
emotional
Yes, it is.
support
Hello?
is more important than anything
Hello?
else.
Absolutely. The social emotional support in Chicago
Hello?
public schools is more important than the academic support.
Say that again for our audience.
Make it clear, the social emotional support. With all of the craziness that's going on in the world today, if someone sees that they care, and particularly kids, if they see someone that's caring about them, they're more apt to become academically successful because they see someone who sees something in them.
Here we are, 2020. What's do you see for the program and your students in the
Hello?
school?
Nothing but success.
Hello.
The growing pains we've addressed and gotten over with. Now it's moving into being more
Hello?
successful. I'm proud to say that we have more kids that are enrolling in Wells Prep, and I am proud to say that is because of our academic success. People see our test scores and they want
Test
to become
scores.
a part of it.
I know when our volunteers see those test scores, they just light up.
Your volunteers light up, the community lights up, parents light up, students light up, the district lights up around test scores. Oh yes, it's all nice when everything's pretty and you got flowers out front of your school and the kids are in dress code. But test scores says a lot about what you're doing in the school. Great test scores drive up real estate prices, which are good for a community. Great test scores
So
decrease
drive-
crime. And great test scores giving kids in Chicago public schools an opportunity to get out of what they've been used to.
If you're just tuning in, we are here with Principal Jeffrey White of the Ida B. Wells School, and he's talking about the impact and the benefit of the Experience Corps program on his students. And I'm going to encourage all of you out there who understand that the social and emotional support being is the key to success. And we need more volunteers. As you all know, that I am the volunteer recruiter for the AARP Foundation, and we're constantly looking for folks like you who are concerned, who are interested, who are stakeholders in the community, who want to support, who have the time and the capacity to encourage and motivate our kindergartners, our first graders, our second graders, and our third graders. Please give us a call at 312-660-8655. 312-660-8655. And as we enter a new decade, we have a whole new generation
Hello?
of readers. The more you read, the more you lead. The more you lead, the more you read.
Hey,
And
Doc.
we need your assistance in helping us to motivate and inspire. I want to again say, thank you for your input. Now, what encouraging words can you share with our viewing audience to encourage them to say, yeah, I want to be one of those volunteers?
It takes more than just a principal. It takes more than an educator. It takes people who care, and that comes in all capacities, whether it may be a parent, it may be a bus driver. We need people, and particularly when we're looking about AARP, who are retired and who wanted something to do. Let's do something about moving kids forward. And I'm encouraging all of those mature adults to become active members in AARP by becoming tutors, and particularly at Wells Prep. I got to put that out there, Wells Prep.
Well, you guys got a full house, right?
And
You need
love it.
more?
We need more.
You need more,
We
you
need
know.
more. And
So-
I'm encouraging you to do so. It has been a wonderful program. If you look at all statistical data in regards to academic performance, it shows that when Experience Corps came into the program, the school was on probation. After years of going through trials and tribulations, we're now off probation.
Now,
Plain and simple.
you said something earlier, and I want to kind of go back to that. You talked about the pre-enrollment schools or the special enrollment schools and how our children are doing well just by being able to take that test. Is this a standardized test? Is this a complicated test? Or-
Well, it goes off the 7th grade NWA score, so yes, it is part of standardized testing. But at the same time, it takes into consideration recommendations from your teachers. It also takes in recommendations from your guidance counselors, and your personal writing skills to see how you can convey how are you going to do in school? So again, it's those 7th grade reading scores that are really important to get in select enrollment school.
Reading is everything.
It's everything. Math is great, but you cannot understand math problems without knowing how to read.
So now, for our parents out there who have young children, those who've just given birth, those who have children that are less than 6 to 8 months, what should they be doing to their children
Read
now?
every day. Turn off the television. Do not even buy video games. Let me repeat that again. Do not even buy video games. Buy them books. Read to them when they get out of bed. Read to them at lunch. Read to them before they go to bed. Ask them to read to you. Read, read, read. I have 2 children of my own. One's doing great in the 8th grade and one's at the University of Notre Dame. How they got in is because my wife and I read to them day in, day out, and got them early.
So reading, not just watching TV or playing video games, reading to your children, reading to each other, reading out loud, conversational reading is the way to inspire and to encourage our children to increase their vocabulary.
That's it. That's it. And let them have fun at it.
Well, reading is fun. It allows you to travel without having to leave the room. It allows you to share your thoughts and your ideas. And you said reading and writing.
That's it.
Just to be clear, at some point in time, writing was no longer in the school. Am I clear on that?
No, sir. Writing has always been a part of the school.
So then what was no longer in the school? Did they call it the script writing or
cursive writing?
Cursive writing.
Writing has always and will be a part of the school.
So that was just a rumor.
That's just a rumor. That's something that's made up. And we still teach cursive writing in school. We still do today. We don't believe the hype.
Don't believe. Well, that's why we have you here, because we want the facts.
Yes.
You know, reading and writing, they're both fundamental.
You gotta have that writing skill down.
And so many young authors are out there. There's so many stories that our young people can tell.
And I want to make it very clear. It's important to convey that most of the Ivy League schools are not taking standardized tests as admittance to get into schools anymore. They're looking at your writing samples to get into Harvard, to Yale, to Brown, to William & Mary. They're looking at the writing samples, not whether you've done good on ACT scores or SAT. It's how great you can write and express yourself.
And just out of curiosity, what would be some of the fundamental techniques that make a good writer?
Expression, your ability to convey how you feel, your ability to sit down and write out, I feel sad because of these reasons. I feel angry because of these reasons. And you support that with documentation based on my research by reading the Wall Street Journal, based on my research by reading Newsweek.
Reading it sometimes.
I feel this way because of these reasons.
And that allows us to express our opinions and ideas.
Yes. There you go. There you go. That's all it is to it. And as a parent, as an educator, it's important to us to convey to our kid, we're not passing judgment. We want you on their writing technique. We want you just to tell me how you feel.
How you feel.
That's it. How you feel.
So parents out there, read to your children. Read, 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 read. Read out loud. Read with them. Encourage them and support them. We as parents have to support
Write
the
them
work
supporting notes
that the teachers are doing at school. Okay, I like that. Writing supporting notes. What's an example of that?
Right, I love you because you do so good in school. Write that down and tell them to read it and cherish it. Write to them. Don't email it. Don't text it. I love you. I want you to write me back and tell you how you feel.
They don't text me.
Don't
We
text
got
to
into
us.
a world now where technology has changed the way we communicate.
And as adults, mature adults, where we are, we should throw these phones away sometimes and just focus on a pen and paper and just say, hey,
I do. Now,
I love you. And this
my
is the reason why I
producer,
love you.
the Black Butterfly, he is an authentic author, writer, and he's so detailed. And he's transferred that detail into his text messages, which I'm saying, you might as well write me a letter because it's as long as a letter.
Encourage your
so
child.
parents, as we moving into 2020, let's focus on reading more to our children.
Yes.
Encouraging our children to read more, writing notes and letters. If you are a parent or an adult who is retired and who has the capacity and some time, please, please, please give us a call at 312-660-8655. 312-660-8655, because we definitely can use more volunteers. We definitely are appreciative of you being out there. And let me give a special shout out to our producer, the Black Butterfly. I want to thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for the opportunity.
And we will see you next time in the community with the AARP Foundation Experience Corps.